You're treating every closed task like it's equally urgent. Therefore, something slips and you scramble to fix it. But was it on the critical path? Or did it actually have a full day of slack you didn't know about? About a quarter of closed tasks have less than one business day of buffer. The rest have much more. Some have days of it. If you don't know which is which, you're spending adrenaline in the wrong place. This lesson shows you how to tell them apart. Let's go straight to the workbook. Task 51. Reverse prior period AP accruals. Column AB, predecessors, task 43. That's the pre-close readiness checklist, this one. Task 51 cannot start until readiness is signed off. In the column AC, we have the successors, automatically calculated from the predecessors. Task 52 depends on task 51. And if we have a look at the chain, 51 feeds 52. 52 feeds 53. 53 feeds 54. 54 feeds 55. 5 tasks in the chain. Makes sense as we are in the accounts payable. Each one waits for the one before it. But let's have a detailed look at task 53. Post AP accruals. It doesn't just depend on task 52. We have 5 predecessors. Task 18, 20, 40, 41, and 52. The late invoice estimates from procurement, the vendor rebate data, the open PO review, the budget owner accruals request, and the final AP invoices. All 5 must be done before this task can start. One late input, and it has to wait. Task 54. AP aging reviews depend on task 53, and task 55, close the AP subledger, depends on 54. This is the dependency chain. You have dozens of them running through your close. Let's look at something interesting. Column BV. Let's open this. Task 51 through 55 all show 11 hours. It means more than a full business day of buffer. If one of these runs a few hours late, nothing downstream moves. But let's look at task 119. Here you need to keep in mind as we go through this workbook that we are in the middle of the close. If you look at the progression on this tracker, you will see that most of the tasks are now completed and the last third is actually not started. This is why the float and the critical path might be different once you update with yours and remove the sample data. Okay? Let's go back and look at task 119, the controller review of the full financial package. Float is 0, 0 slack, 0 buffer. If the controller review, in this particular example where we still need to do the last third of the close, if this controller review runs 1 hour late, the close will finish 1 hour late. Column BW flags it. Yes, this task is on the critical path. In general, if we look at this particular example, we have still 8 tasks with 0 float, so they are on the critical path. We have the subsequent events review, the controller review, the management reporting, reporting submission, and a few others. All the 8 are on the screen right now. Every upstream delay accumulates here. If we scroll back, you will see a lot of tasks with 5 to 7 hours of float scattered through the consolidation analysis phase, for instance. They are one bad day away from becoming critical, but your AP chain has 11 hours of float. The controller review has 0. So, in general, if you had to prioritize 2 tasks which are not yet completed, one has 0 float and the other has more than 1 business day of float, prioritize the critical path, prioritize the ones where the float is the minimum. The general rule, focus on the 0 float task. They should not get late. Now let's look at task 44. Receive final day bank statements from Treasury. Column U, stick flag, yes. Column S, from day 1. Okay. This task cannot start before day 1, no matter what. Even if every predecessor finishes early, the bank doesn't release final statements until the period ends. The scheduling window maps to your ERP's period countdown. The stick pins a task to a real-world date constraint that the dependency chain alone could not capture. what you just traced, the predecessor chains, the float, the zero slack task, the critical path, is the critical path method that we call CPM. The formulas in column BQ through BW run a forward pass and a backward pass through every task. If you change a predecessor in column AB, all the float and critical path flags recalculate automatically. So here's how this plays out in a real close. It's day 3. Your staff accountant tells you that the bank reconciliation is going to be 3 hours late. Your instinct is to escalate. Bank rec is visible. Auditors care about it. The controller will ask. But you check the float. 16 hours. 2 full days of buffer. It could be 3 hours late, nothing would move. Meanwhile, nobody flagged that X other task hasn't started and has a 0 float. So it's on the critical path. Every hour it waits is an hour added to the close. That's the task you should be chasing, not the bank reconciliation. Float is your prioritization tool. It replaces anxiety with data. In this workbook, we have seen that there were only 8 tasks with strictly 0 float because we are at the end of the close. But in your case, there could be more, there could be less, and it wouldn't be at the same place. If you look at this workbook more generally, a quarter of all tasks have less than 8 hours of float, less than 1 business day of buffer. Those are the tasks that control your deadline. Be careful about them. Let's have a look at the KPI 6. Critical path efficiency. We have 88%. That measures pure CPM durations against the resource constraint schedule. We will unpack what drives the other 12% in the next lesson. So here's your exercise. Go to your customized task list. 3 things to check. First, as we said, predecessors, column A, B, and AC. Do the predecessor and successor chains match your actual close? If your AR close doesn't depend on AP in your process, probably remove that link. Second, the column S through U. If your ERP period counter differs from the sample, update the from and to days. If a task has a real-world date constraint, like bank statements or regulatory filings, set the stick flag to yes. It will block it to only starting your from date. Third, column BW. Once your dependencies are set, scroll to the critical path. List every task flagged yes. For each one, who wants it? That you should know now from the SciPoc. And do they know it's 0 float? So that we have the right prioritization and the criticality in mind of everyone. Great work in this lesson 4. The CPM, critical path method, assumes everyone is available whether you need them. In reality, your senior accountant can't work on 3 tasks at the same time. In the next lesson, we add real team capacity to the schedule and see what the Gantt chart looks like when people have limits.